P.O.T.Y. No, I'm not talking about what you do in the washroom. I'm talking about P.O.T.Y, Parliamentarian of the Year. It's like the Oscars, but for members of Parliament. So if you want to learn what it takes to be the best of the best, you gotta learn from the master. So, Miss May, what does it take to be Parliamentarian of the Year?
I don't really know, because I was so stunned and I remain completely shocked because it's a vote of all the other MPs all together voting on hardest worker, best constituency MP, best orator, most knowledgeable, and all these categories. And the last thing in the world I thought was that I would be elected best, well, Parliamentarian of the Year. I mean, I'm stunned. So I think working across party lines helps, because it's a vote of all the MPs, and people over the years have felt that, you know, the bigger parties have a lot more clout getting someone elected Parliamentarian of the Year. Clearly that's not true, because there's just one person here in the Green Party. So
if you wanted to tell people what qualities would be important for an MP to have, what would you say that is?
My own view is the most important thing to do is to stop thinking like a politician and start thinking like a parliamentarian. So the job is to work on the legislation that's in front of you, pay attention to what's going on around you, be an effective opposition if you're in opposition. If you're working within the party that's formed government, you want to be, I think, ideally thwarting the orders that are sent down to you, and I would say the same of the opposition parties. There's too tight control over all the MPs, whether they're NDP or Liberal or Conservative, but particularly the NDP and the Conservatives right now. MPs can't do anything on their own volition. They can't speak their mind or vote their conscience. I think that's terrible. So for my approach has been to be very conscientious, to work very hard, to not miss anything as much as possible, and to do my research, and to try to make a constructive contribution to every issue that's under debate.
Now, final question. What about the people you represent? How important is that in terms of coming to the House over here?
It's the most important thing. My constituents are my top priority, so as much effort as I put in here in the House of Commons, I put in my constituency office on behalf of people who are having trouble with government, or in the case we had a facility in my riding that was about to be closed, and I'm very grateful that I was able to persuade Jerry Ritz. It was an agricultural center with 40 people employed there, and it was doing really important science. And I was able to persuade them just to keep it open. So the constituency work, whether for individuals, families that are all split up because of bad immigration decisions, people struggling with CRA, there's all kinds of issues that are that make people's lives miserable, and they come to their MP kind of at this last thing anyone ever thinks of. So I work just as hard for my constituents on their personal issues that matter to my constituency. And fortunately, my constituents are really concerned with the same issues I am, like stopping pipelines and super tankers on our coastline, and having climate policy, and dealing with issues of poverty and needing housing. So I'm able to represent the concerns of my constituents. But just to give you an example, right after I was elected, we were in one of our regular meetings of the Federal Council of the Green Party, which is the entity that runs the Green Party. The leader doesn't run the party. And in Federal Council, they said, now that you're elected, how are you going to decide what your priority is between being an MP and your constituents and being leader of the party? I said, just so you know, my top priority is my constituents, and being leader of the party is not my top priority. My constituents come first, and sort of it's maybe Canada comes first and then my constituents, or maybe my constituents and then Canada, but third is my responsibility to the Green Party. There's way too much partisanship in this chamber, and we need to restore democracy, recover democracy, and really eliminate the hyper-partisanship from Parliament.
Perfect. If you could give me 5 words that you think should encapsulate the best MP on the Hill that people would love to see their MP come and just be, what would you say?
Honesty, integrity, accountability, diligence, and thoroughness.
Thank you very much, Miss May.
Thank you.
She's the master. So give your MP a report card this December. Where did they excel? Where do they need to improve? You can compare them against the gold standard of Elizabeth May, this year's Parliamentarian of the Year.